What's up, people? It's Bread and Circuses. It's your boy Caleb Salvatore here.
And it's Nick Kohler. We're here with Lindsay Post on the podcast today. World-renowned psychic, right, Lindsay?
Yes, sorry. Well, at least in North America.
Yeah.
North American renowned.
North America. I've got clients in Canada and the U.S., so.
Actually, I guess before we start, we should let our listeners know what really helps us out, guys, before we start is just make sure when you guys are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating if you like us.
Add some nice comments, too.
Yeah.
That boosts the algorithm that we all love so much.
If you guys don't think that we are deserving of a 5-star, please send us a message on the Anchor messages as well as what do you think we can improve.
Yeah, we want to know why we suck.
Yeah, exactly. Constructive criticism,
All right, so let's. That's right. And subscribe on Spotify if you listen on there. That'll boost us too.
Yeah.
I guess let's just dive right into it. You said you had clients. How does that work?
Yes. Well, I have clients. I actually have a shop that is connected here at my home. And I'd say about 60% of my clients are local. I live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is right between Chicago and Milwaukee. So I live in between two international cities. Like I said, about 60% of my clients are come and see me, or the other 40%, or even some that are just a couple hours away. We do phone readings, Skype readings. I'm available via Google Duo, and we also do Facebook chats. And then I also offer e-readings too. So I have a lot of people that will order readings via video mail. That's basically what I call it. It's a reading that I record and then I send to the client. They're a little bit less expensive.
What are the kind of people that like to do like the reading stuff? Are they people that are looking? My
mom.
Well, are they not necessarily looking?
Yeah,
for
I read
specific...
for your mom. Yeah. I have every type of person you could think of. I have a lot of local elected officials. I can't say names, but I've got a lot of them.
Elected officials?
I have your regular housewife soccer mom. I have your retired, probably like your mom. I have a lot of men that come to me too. Some of them straight, some of them not so straight, but discriminate there either. Actually, kind of a funny story about the first time I had two men, a couple, come to me, and I was afraid to tell them or ask them. They said they were friends. And it was a really awkward reading because I was afraid they were asking about their relationship and kids, and it was really hard for me to I'm going, wait a second.
Did you have a feeling that those two were going to be with each other or something?
As a matter of fact, I kind of went around the subject for a little while and they started getting giggly. And finally I said, I'm not trying to insult you, but are you two together? And that was the first, that was about 2 years ago. That was the first time I had an actual reading with a couple that was same sex. Now it happens a lot more. I'm an ordained minister too, so and what I do is I specialize in weddings that are not so traditional. So those are actually the kinds of weddings that I like to officiate. I can do Wiccan hand fastings. I don't know. That probably sounds even crazier.
Yeah, what are those? I don't know too much about
pagans, or what they're known more in the mainstream as Wiccans, have their own type of wedding ceremony. And it's called a hand fasting or jumping the broom, which is something that you jump the broom. But it's
they physically jump over a broom, don't they?
Oh, that's part of the ritual. It's a ritual. Yeah. It's a wedding ritual where two people are married in a circle or a pagan style. And I got ordained so I could do those kinds of weddings. And papers.
I think it's perfect though that I'll stop in and say it's perfect that we're doing this on September, like the beginning of September, because Halloween's officially started on September 1st. Everyone knows. So
yeah.
That's something funny too. My busiest month is October.
I bet.
I'm sure. You only get readings in October, and it's like everybody wants a psychic in October, and then the rest of the year it's like psychics. What are those?
Maybe it's because you got all the spookiness going around and everyone's just like, oh yeah, let's go see a psychic. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And they all, they'll come and see me a lot of times, especially when I'm at events, and they'll think that I'm a fortune teller, and that's not what I do. I work in a manner that like a psychotherapist or a counselor would work, except for I do it more on a spiritual level, and I use tarot cards, so I give guidance in that sort of way.
So I've always been really curious about how the tarot cards work.
Okay.
Like my dad has a set of them, and like I had some friends that had them, but like nobody knows how to use them or what. Like tell me about them.
I have one friend.
I actually grabbed a deck.
Yeah.
I probably should have grabbed like the Rider-Waite deck, but I actually grabbed a deck.
So there's different kinds of decks?
Yeah, there are so many different types of tarot decks. I have tons of them. I use probably a different deck for everybody's reading. Everybody gives a certain type of energy off. So different decks are probably like, they just kind of match up with that energy. And
so do they have like different cards on them, or what are they?
Oh, yeah. Like, here's something, this would be called the Three of Pentacles or the Three of Coins, if you can see it. And
for our YouTube listeners,
it's more about like hard work, delegation, but in some other decks it can mean charity.
Oh.
You've got the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. That's a Minor Arcana card. The Major Arcana is 21 cards, and those are the life events that happen. They're like big life events. A lot of people are scared of those cards because they've got, see if I can pull any up, that are like, here, well, here's the Hermit. And this one's not as scary, but you can see it looks like it is a scary kind of image. The Hermit just kind of keeps to himself, but like Death, the Devil, people get scared of those cards, and some decks rename them. This one actually doesn't have the names of the Major Arcana on it, which is why I like it too. Because a lot of times you pull out that Death card and feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And it's like, no, there's a big ending coming to your life. And there's something new that's going to start. No one's going to die.
Oh, well, they wouldn't be wrong anyway, because everybody dies.
Surrounding that Death card from the Minor Arcana, in my experience, for someone to actually have to die. Or not have to die, but for it to actually be signifying death.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did predict my mother's own death. So
wow.
That was kind of scary. But I did it with a Rider-Waite deck. I actually stopped using, which is one of the most traditional decks. I stopped using that deck probably for about 5 years after that because it freaked me out so bad. It was just.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's got to be heavy.
It was very heavy. Very heavy. Yeah.
So I guess when you do one of the readings, so you'll first pick the kind of deck that is going to be appropriate to whatever kind of reading you're doing, and then you just draw random cards, and it kind of I guess how does it go?
Well, if the person's with me, I have them shuffle the deck to get their energy on it. Otherwise, I shuffle the deck and just focus on that person. Like I'm focusing on you right now, Caleb, as I'm shuffling cards.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to pull.
Oh, we're going to do a live tarot reading.
Are we going to do a live tarot? I've never done this before.
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, there we go. We're going to go here. Oh. So the first card that comes up is the Devil.
Shocker.
Now, as you can see, this is guys like crawling, reaching for some help. Now, this would be something that is kind of in your past, or what we're talking about, events that are just passing. There's some toxic situations in your life, and that's what the Devil represents. You're being confined by something or someone or some sort of energy. Now let me see what comes up next.
College.
So
student loan debt.
We have the Page of Coins, and this could actually be a lot of times in this deck. This is about logic, even though the coins is usually more about physical things. This deck, a lot of times it's logic. It can be people somebody's telling you what to do, telling you need to do it this way. This is the only way. You can't do it any other way, and you're looking for other ways to do things, and they're not agreeing with you. Now, there's a Knight coming in, and it's a Knight of Cups. This is somebody that cares about you deeply. They're going to point this situation out to you very soon. They're going to show you evidence that this energy or this person or this situation isn't the best thing for you. This could be a male, it could be a female, but the person cares about you very deeply, and they're doing it for your own good and out of love. Yep, you got a woman at the bottom. So she's this. I feel like this might have to do with work, actually, because underneath that middle card, where I was telling you, they're saying you're not doing it right. This is usually in this deck. A lot of times, this points out a superior, union. Somebody has to be a center of attention all the time. And as you can see, there's a red banner going behind this woman. Red flags. Red flags. No
Red flag.
So that's just a quick 4-card reading. I know you didn't ask me a question, but what do you think?
I'd say it's pretty accurate for the most part. I haven't really had problems with my day job, but there's other situations, yeah.
Right.
that I
And,
think that
and it
could
can
apply
go
to.
for different parts of your life. It's not, like I said, you didn't ask me a specific question. I'm just pulling up what the cards are going with your energy.
I think that was kind of cool, actually. It's like it's one of those.
Well,
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, even if you are totally just 100% logical kind of person, or like, don't believe in any of that kind of stuff, it's kind of fun to do.
It
if
is.
anything, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
For
yeah,
sure.
that was just like when I do fairs and stuff. Those are the kind of quickie readings that I do. Sometimes, somebody will, if they have a question, I say, "What's your question?" And I'll answer it a little bit more in tune to what they're asking. But since you didn't ask me a question, I was just focusing on your energy. That's what came up. So I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People want to know the lottery numbers. They want to know what they ate for breakfast. I don't know any of that. I don't know anything.
So there goes my. I was going to ask how my fantasy team's going to do. We did a draft last night. But...
I could maybe give you a little advice on, maybe, which way to go. If you ask me, should I pick this team? Should I not pick that team? But I couldn't tell you what teams to pick.
Oh, you're good. You'd be a millionaire, right?
Right, exactly. If it worked that way, I wouldn't be doing this.
It's like you said, it seemed a lot more.
I actually majored in political science in college. So.
Oh, nice.
Definitely a calling. It's the opposite of everything that I learned.
It's like you had said before. It's a lot more introspective than just like specifics.
Very much.
So have you done like seances where you can talk to dead people, or?
I don't do seances per se, but I am a medium. I do connect with the other side. That is one of the services I offer.
Okay.
I also am certified in grief counseling, and I do a lot of that. What I have found, and this is going to sound hokey for people that are skeptical, but a lot of times those type of readings where you're reaching out to the other side are just as therapeutic for the deceased as they are for the people that are wanting closure. Because a lot of times you have spirits that hold on. When people die, they don't cross over right away. They stick around for a little while. Time isn't linear. So what could be a day to us could be 5 seconds to them. They don't realize that they're holding on as long as they're holding on sometimes. And they just want that same closure that the living want, their loved ones want.
What's your personal experience with dealing with like spirits like that? Like a couple of personal experiences.
Oh my God.
I always love hearing these stories. These are always cool.
Oh, I think we just dropped it.
No, we're good.
I've been in contact with spirits my entire life. My first one was actually my first memory of one was my deceased grandmother, and it was I was in kindergarten. I know that much, or maybe I was preschool. I was very young, and I know there had been a babysitter at the house with me. But I remember wanting to go to the funeral so bad, and none of the adults let me go. They kept telling me I wouldn't understand, and I understood my grandma was gone. She wasn't coming back, and I wanted to say goodbye. And I remember I was in my room, and her room, where she slept the last few months of her life, was directly across the hall from mine. And I saw her in my mind's eye sitting on the bed. So I walked in there, and I could hear her voice, see pictures in my mind's eye. And basically, she was communicating with me, telling me that goodbye, she loved me. And there was a part that adults don't really, it was either something like adults don't understand, or they don't always listen to children. It was that whole like speak and, or speak, be quiet, you be spoken to, not, I can't get the words out. So that was her generation. And that's how they raised their children who were not letting me go to the funeral. And that was the whole vibe that I got from her. And as that was a very calming experience. But as I got older, I started to get very scared, because there were a lot of spirits that I would come in contact to, and I wouldn't know if they were good or bad, what they wanted. This was in one of two of my childhood homes. The second childhood home we moved into, was, well, my father already owned it, was, it had a dark presence in it most of my life. Eventually, as I got older, I learned how to get rid of it, and we did get rid of it. But I remember hearing, and I had a friend that was there one of the 3 times I heard this blood-curdling scream coming from the basement. Nobody around. Everybody in my family can tell you stories where they've come home and the room's been rearranged. They've seen visuals. I had a sleepover when I was about 10 or 11, and we were all upstairs where a lot of the activity occurred. And we were playing a board game, and all of a sudden the windows, my birthday is in November, so the windows weren't open. Trust me, it was cold outside.
Right.
In Wisconsin, yeah.
Yes, we had very thick carpeting, and the door, you really needed some friction to pull this door closed. There was no slamming it shut. The thing went 90 miles an hour and slammed shut. All of the girls took off screaming, running downstairs out the front door. I mean, and this was me too. I was very scared of these things. And even to this day, I sleep with a nightlight. Because I find at night, a lot of the times when I'm sleeping, that's when spirits that like to screw with me. And when I say that, I've woken up to my bed being shaken, my name being called, being poked in the head. It's a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had, like, I know you said you speak with the other side. Have you ever connected with something that you could tell was just like pure evil?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something that, like I said, my second childhood home we had something terrible in it for many years. And eventually as I got older, I learned how to get rid of it with the help of some elders. And we got rid of it, thankfully. And I mean, the interesting thing was that the house was dark for a number of years. You would hear banging on the walls. All of that stopped. And just light came flooding into the house. And that was really amazing. But yeah, I do come into contact with beings like that. But one thing you learn over the years is how to protect yourself. Sometimes I have people call me and they say, I've got something terrible in my house. I need you to get rid of it for me. And I say, I'll come read it. But if it's really something that evil, I don't deal with demons. You're going to have to call your local priest. Because I just won't. I don't want the attachment. I truly believe that there was a demon responsible for my divorce. We moved into an apartment that had a lot of demonic activity in it. And my ex-husband wound up getting very depressed over a period of about 2 years. And he left me for another woman, which was very interesting. I know that doesn't sound very odd at all, but we had a perfectly fine marriage when we moved into that house. And once I moved out of that house, everything kind of went back to normal within a period of time. And it's unfortunate because me and the people that are close to us all believe that we'd still be married to this day had we not had that few years of our life. That was just, the things that would happen were crazy. I mean, just completely insane. Just the way everything went down. I mean, he
like a bunch of stuff that weren't like in your control and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Things that weren't even in his control, like his friends. He lost all contact with all of his friends that he had been speaking to for years and years and years.
Oh, wow.
One woman. And if you looked in her eyes, you could see that there was nothing there. And I was not the only person that saw that. Like, she was an empty vessel. And he actually had to move with my son across the country to get away from her. This guy's laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing. No, I'm saying I know people like that.
No. Yeah.
You can look them and it's just like nothing there.
To Canada now to get away from her. And so he could go back to, things would just start going back to normal. It was just very, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours and hours about that. And a lot of people did think I was crazy when I would talk about it at the time. But now, after all has been said and done, and it's been 7 years now, people are like, you were right. Oh my God, those were not synchronicities. That went on for, so.
What do you think is it? And I guess that's what confuses me with the demons. Are they like people that passed away and they're just hateful?
No,
so they're their own thing.
They're their own thing. They're their own energy. This is just my belief, but I strongly believe that there is a war on this plane, or this earth plane, against good and evil. Good being angels, because angels have a much higher frequency vibration, and demonic energy has a very low vibration. And I believe that it's basically angels and demons kind of at war. And I know that sounds completely cliche, but I mean, you see the same thing with angels too. I mean, sometimes you'll get into a car accident. This happened to me, and somebody will show up in the middle of nowhere and tie a tourniquet around your severed artery, and they're all of a sudden the ambulances show up, they're gone, and your life was saved, and there's not a scratch on your baby, and the car's sold.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways, but you know, that's my belief, that it's those two energies that are kind of fighting each other. But I also don't think it's a terrible thing, because balance is a very integral part of our being and our existence. And within ourselves, we have to learn how to balance the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We have to learn how to balance happiness and sadness, our emotions, everything, our lives, you know, our social lives and our work lives. You know, balance is very important. So there's the balance between good and evil. We can't have all good and we can't have all evil. We have to be somewhere in between, and that's where that human spirit comes in.
I would say to anybody that would argue against that, to like, man, people have been saying that since like the dawn of civilization.
Right.
Yes,
So,
they have.
so that's got to be some kind of conventional wisdom. And also, too, people have always had some kind of version of that too, like demons, and then like, you know,
Yin and
divine
yang.
beings and stuff. But yeah, like yin and yang, and like it's all across like all cultures. It's kind of crazy.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's basically, you know, when I give a reading too, and a lot of negative stuff kind of seems to come up, I always like to point out the silver lining to it, because there always is an balance in readings, whether they're super good or super bad. There's always that other aspect to it.
When you say negative stuff, is it like negative stuff going on in that person's life, or is it negative stuff that they're like acting like, or something like that?
A lot of times it's their own actions. A lot of people have trouble being honest. There's a lot of
Yes.
drug abuse, alcoholism in this world that people don't like to talk about, which again causes dishonesty. There's a lot of psychological behaviors that aren't healthy for us. We're all human and we all have these issues. I have these issues. I can dish it, but I may not be great at doing it, you know. But yeah, that's it's really like, you know, pointing these things out and saying, hey, maybe you should back up a little on this, and maybe you should, you know, focus on the fact that you have these wonderful children in your life, and, you know, you want to raise them the best, instead of thinking that saving your marriage that cannot be saved is going to save your children.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yes. So a lot of times people just need to be told. That's kind of
A
crazy.
lot of times that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And a lot of times people know. Everybody has a sixth sense. I'm not special. I just am more developed because I choose to develop my abilities. Everybody has a sixth sense. A lot of people come in knowing. They just need that verification from somebody that, hey, this is what it is.
I wanna go back to the evil spirits stuff and everything. Yeah. One thing I've heard is a super common thing that, you know, people talk about is like how they bind to like a certain object or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. I just had a case like this a couple months ago about with a dresser.
Yeah, we have
the dresser at an estate sale, and the boyfriend was like, "No, don't get it. Don't bring it in. Something's wrong with this dresser." And the girlfriend was like, "No, we can refinish it. It'll be great." They bring it in. He gets depressed. He gets all the stuff's going on. They open it up and they find like a bonnet from the 1800s.
Oh,
some kid. Yes, and I was just like, okay, first things first, get it out of your house. Like, out of your house.
Don't burn it though, right?
Can you burn it?
Something attached to that object that's attaching to your boyfriend. Get it out of the house.
What if you burn it?
There's some cleansing that needs to be done. And really that was basically the case. There was something attached to that object that immediately was attracted to the male that was in that house and wanted to attach to him. And as we got deeper into it, he had a child that had passed away. He was also a foster child, I believe. But it was a child that was trying to attach to this person that had these same kind of feelings and emotions and energy that this child attached to the stressor had. So it was not a good thing that what the child needed to do was cross over. Obviously, it was an old dresser. So, I mean, I was getting like 1800s. So it had been on this earth. But like I said, time is not linear. So for that child, it could have been here, felt like it's been here for 5 years. You know,
Right.
It was attaching to this man that had that same kind of, he was a kindred spirit.
And Nick brought up an interesting point. He said, "Don't burn it." What happens if you burn it? I guess.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard.
Well, you know, that comes from more of a protection standpoint. If you burn it without the proper, like, circle of protection, the proper knowing to say the proper things, doing it, I guess, in a respectful way, that's the proper protection. A lot of people think, "Oh my God, I'm terrified. I need to just burn this and get rid of it." No, because then you're going to piss whatever's attached to it off because you didn't do it in a respectful way. Now it's going to be mad because it's just being forgotten and brushed aside. It's kind of like not giving a soul a funeral, not giving them any closure. Right, exactly. And it just makes them mad. And now they got something else to hang on to. So,
because we had a Ouija board.
More what it's about. Burning things isn't, at least, you know, there's people have different schools of thought. I believe that it's more, burning is okay. It's just, you need to do it in a respectful manner.
We had a Ouija board when we were kids, and I'm in my 20s now, so my mom won't kick me out of the house for talking about how we fucked around with a Ouija board. But
your mom would definitely kick you out of the house for doing that.
I have a 13-year-old son. If he ever brought a Ouija board in this house, he would be in so much trouble, and he knows it.
My issue with the Ouija board is, like, it's made by Hasbro, so I mean it's the fact that you're trying to bring something through it. What's that?
That makes me so mad that they market it to children.
Yeah, well, that's my thing. I gotta be 21 to buy a bottle of beer, but if I want to summon the devil, I can be 12, right?
Right.
That's the same thing for some people, though.
As everybody knows, you know, this stuff is just a bunch of hocus pocus. It doesn't exist.
We fooled around with the Ouija board. Nothing happened. We were like 18. Nothing happened.
And that's good. It doesn't mean something's going to happen every time you use it, but they do open doors. They can open doors.
Well, nothing happened that day.
Okay.
But like a week later, my mom's like, "Yeah, I saw a guy standing behind your brother," and then I get a call like 2 days later from my brother saying, "Are you home?" I'm like, "No, I've been gone for 4 hours. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, I just saw someone walk into your room and there's no one in there." I'm like, "Okay, don't go in there."
See, and you know, it doesn't mean you summoned the devil. It just means you opened a door and a spirit walked through.
Right.
I mean, and that's where the danger comes from, because you never know. It's kind of like, you know, it's a can of worms. You don't know what you're opening up. You don't know what's going to walk through. You know,
might be a kind old lady. Might be a guy that beat his kids a lot.
What's that?
I said it doesn't mean you're going to summon the devil, but it can happen. There's a
chance.
It could be a kind old lady, or it could be a deceased Nazi. You never know.
You know.
Right. You never know what you're going to get. So that's why I don't believe that children should be messing with Ouija boards at all. I think it should be something that, if you're going to use one, you need to know what you're getting into and what you're doing. There needs to be some sort of research done before you actually use one.
Yeah, we torched ours.
Most people do once they start staring at them, but
yeah,
I won't do it again unless it's at a.
I don't even mess with any of that kind of stuff, man. So I know you. So you live up in Wisconsin. You say you work with a lot of people up in Canada too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are they just? Do you ever work with like any of the Inuit people up there at all, or Inuit?
No, none of the Inuits. I don't go that. None of my clients are that far up north, but we do have a couple of reservations here up north, and in Minnesota and in the Michigan region, and there are some tribes in that area that I've worked with. So what is their kind of? I do. I'm not like, I know a bit about shamanism, but I'm not a big.
Okay.
You know, I'm not a shaman at all. I'm more of a neo-pagan. But you know, I have worked with different tribal beliefs. But, one thing that I have found is they all kind of come back to the same belief that we're all one energy and we're all part of this earth. It's kind of interesting. When I learned how to read the tarot cards, I was taught to cut that 3 times with your left hand. I was told the left side was the right side of our brain was the intuitive side of our brain. That's why I use our left hands. I learned from a Native American that when they do offerings with their tobacco, they use the left hand because it's the hand that's closest to your heart. So it's interesting how, and the left side has always been associated with the goddess. It's just interesting how in different cultures these things kind of line up.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of curious about like the different cultural similarities between those. Are there any others like that are?
Oh gosh, actually, as a matter of fact, like I said, I'm more neo-pagan, but I actually go to a Universalist church, which, and I know church, that like when you say church, you think, oh, Catholic Christians, but it's what the Universalists are is it's basically it's not creed-based, it's covenant-based. So anybody of any belief can go there. There's no one religious text. There's no nobody preaches one thing. It's more about loving, being one with the earth, loving your fellow brother, treating everybody with respect, equality, justice. And I know that it sounds like it gets a little bit political, and it's a very democratic church. But that's kind of what I like about it so much, is because you can have people of all different backgrounds, and what we find is they all come back, even in Christianity, Judaism, they all basically come back to the same beliefs, the core principles.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things I think about religion, is that like all the different ones have so many similarities like that. So I can definitely see how that goes. I had a lot of experience living down south, down in El Paso.
Okay.
Dealing with kind of like the Mexican culture, dealing with the spirits and everything. I learned a lot from my wife about that kind of stuff. Then I'm curious, have you ever gone that far? I know you're up in Wisconsin, but have you ever gone that far south?
We have Waukegan, Illinois, and especially down towards Chicago, we have a huge Hispanic community, and I actually deal with a lot more of that than you think. I actually wish I would learn Spanish, because I sometimes have people bring their kids in to translate their readings for me. But yeah, I get a lot of that. I actually keep some antidotes on hand for sale in my shop, just because with brujeria, they want floor washes, they want the herb baths, they want the evil eye jewelry, which I believe in so much. I've always got my evil eyes on.
What's that?
So, it's.
Yeah, what's that evil eye stuff? What is that?
Well, there's actually, if you look, there's pretty much one in almost every culture. They're just formed different way, or they're shaped different way. Like the Indians have them in a hand. My favorite, I actually have a pillow here that's just a blue evil eye. My logo is actually in a triangle. But basically what the evil eye does is it sends back jealousy. People can hex you without even knowing it, because magic's all up here in the mind. It's basically jealousy, hatred directed at one person, and directing all that energy at one person. And then they find themselves having bad luck, or they find everything going wrong. And, wearing these talismans, I believe it. Some people don't believe it, whatever. I guess you could call these talismans more of kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a superstition. But basically the eye, especially if it's blue, is supposed to send that, if that happens to you and you are afflicted with that, it sends it back to the sender. So if somebody's focusing all that evil energy on you, basically the evil eye is watching. It's watching out for the evil. And it's going to see it, and it's going to deflect it back to the sender.
That's so crazy. My wife was telling me about like with Mexican witchcraft, right? That's what her name for it. Mm-hmm. She was like, yeah, if anybody does it, they got to be careful, because if you find out about it, and you get rid of it, it reverses it back onto them. And,
and
I was like,
and in paganism, we believe it's threefold. So
Yeah.
most people
Right.
tell you the rule of three. Ever mind the rule of three. What you put out comes back to thee.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So, yeah.
That's so crazy because that's like 2,000 miles south
Right.
of here.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's nuts. She was always just telling me some stuff about like that, about how like the Mexicans, they've got like the Santa Muerta, which is like the angel of death. You'll see some people sometimes have like the skeleton, like it's like their version of the Grim Reaper kind of.
Yeah, like the sugar skulls.
Yep.
Yeah, I keep those around too. I'm such a weirdo, I know. Yeah, actually, the sugar skulls are actually a good thing. Believe it or not, the skulls aren't a bad thing. They're actually a sign of rebirth and kind of like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, okay.
People get scared of skulls.
Yeah.
They're not.
Mexicans think skeletons.
Not a bad thing. It's a sign of rebirth.
Yeah.
Getting rid of what no longer serves you to get something new and good in your life. So.
I think the Mexican culture uses skeletons more as like representing the spirits rather than just like evil stuff.
Yes, they do. They believe in a lot of with their ancestors. And I know doing past life readings a lot of times I noticed certain people with certain backgrounds a lot of times it seems like in their readings they'll come up kind of like they reincarnated into the same family. Now I'm talking about reincarnation. I know I sound like a loop.
But that interests the hell out of me. Let's stay on it.
Yeah, let's talk about reincarnation.
They'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I have people in my, family tree that were nuns, and it's coming up that they were nuns and the patriarchy was too much for them, and you know what I mean? And it's always the same Mexicans and Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans. Those are some major cultures that I find that in. And then there's others that, like a lot of European cultures, they don't really have so much of the ancestry in it, but it's interesting.
You mentioned reincarnation, and that's what makes my brain hurt.
You know what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt your brain. It's just a belief that I have. It's a belief that I can't get over just because I've had my own experiences with it. I like I said, I do past life readings, and I find, and those even sound kind of like cool and fun too. But a lot of things with past life readings too, a lot of people don't realize is what it focuses on is mainly the lessons you didn't learn in past lives and are afflicting you in this life. A lot of times that's what comes up in past life readings.
So with reincarnation, how does that work?
Well,
like if you're shitty in the last life,
my belief is that you plan out your life before you come here. You die, you go to the other side. There's a place that a lot of people that have had near-death experiences called like the Hall of Records, or like a library where you can review all your lifetimes, and you kind of figure out what lessons you need to learn before you can ascend higher, and you decide when you're going to come back and who's going to be your parents, and kind of a predestined thing. You decide whether you're going to have a good life, bad life, what do you deserve, what do you need to learn. So that's kind of my own theory of it. It's in quite a few texts, but
it's really prevalent in Hinduism, reincarnation, which
I think
is kind of cool.
It's definitely a pseudoscience, the whole thing. So there's a lot of different views on it. That's just my personal view of it. But you'll talk to other people and they'll tell you other things. So.
I don't know. I remember, because I was always super skeptical of it, and I'm not saying I'm balls to the wall for anything right now. Totally invested believing, but I remember it was a couple of years ago. Do you know who Art Bell was?
Bell.
The radio host, Coast to Coast AM.
Okay, yes.
Yes. So I used to listen to him like daily with my grandpa, like every night when I'd have sleepovers there or whatever. And I remember he passed away a couple of years ago, and I can remember I watched this Facebook live stream with this guy who was known for channeling spirits, and I thought, oh, it's hoodoo crap. How do you know he's really talking to this dude's mom or whatever? But I remember he was talking to Art Bell, and I'm like, holy shit, that's him. Like, that was so weird, and it still sends chills down my spine talking about it. Like, he has like a very recognizable voice, and that was 100% his voice, and that was weird.
And some things can't be explained, and that's something that I tell people all the time. Some things just can't be explained. I mean, some people have very analytical and logical minds, and in the work that I do, some things just can't be explained. And the only thing I say is the cards never lie. So I might not know what I'm talking about, but those cards say something.
So do you think there are people out there, like in your line of work, that do try to just take advantage of people?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's terrible. It's a terrible problem. I have people come to me all the time that say, I went and saw this psychic, and their reading was they said the reading was $25 when I got there, and they told me that I had something evil on me, and it would cost $500. They could take it off, and I had to come back in 8 days and give them $500, and I did. And then nothing changed. So they told me it was going to be $700 more, and I had to come back in a week. And I'm just like, and you did it. Don't tell me you didn't. And I'm just like,
that's like those computer viruses.
Yeah,
you gotta pay $500 to get rid of it.
No legitimate psychic is going to do that. No legitimate psychic will do any work for you. Any legitimate psychic is going to tell you to do your own work.
Right.
Anna told me that the Mexican mountain ladies is, I think, what she called them, the kind of one, like the people in Mexico that'll come down and do the exercising and stuff. All you gotta do is give them a meal, and that's all they'll do. They'll do everything for you.
Really?
Yeah. It's and then there's in that culture too. Now, I don't want to put it down, because you're right. I mean, if you go down to Mexico, yeah, they will do it for you, but they're not going to keep taking your money, and they're not going to be asking for it. It's going to be like, bring me his shoe, bring me what I need, and I'll do it for you. It's not, and then you can leave them a donation. It's not like it's going to be $700, and then
it's the going rate for getting rid of spirits.
I actually had somebody spam my Facebook page. I think his name was Mavy Cole or something, and it was all under his, but it was all these fake testimonials about how he, somebody sent him $600 and he changed they were married in a month, and I was just like, I had to block him, erase all of his posts, report him to Facebook. I was like, apologize to the 1,400 people I have on my Facebook page. I'm sorry, don't listen. I do not endorse this. My page is banned.
Well, it's scientifically proven. I'd say scientifically, knowing that that's very broad to say that, but that people really do have auras, and it doesn't seem that crazy to me that auras, when you pass on, that your aura or whatever could remain attached to something, or still be present in an area.
Yeah, so we have here in Omaha. Well, actually, it's in Plattsmouth, so it's 30 minutes south of here. We have the largest haunted artifact museum collection in the world at the Museum of Shadows.
I wouldn't want to go there.
I've been there once.
I might have to pay Omaha a visit.
Yeah, it's down in Plattsmouth. It's actually really cool. It was in Springfield, and they moved it now, so it's actually really cool.
I don't want to go down there. I don't mess with that kind of stuff. And my wife is always like, "Oh, when we were in California, she's like, oh, we need to go to the Queen Victoria." And I'm like, no, we don't.
I was like, let's go.
I don't know.
I think it's funny. And that's a really, that's kind of the whole. I mean, they do actually have cameras that can take pictures of your aura. I've had one.
Yeah.
But
it's like an electromagnetic aura.
Our doesn't die, just our body dies. Our body houses our energy. So if you think about it, what are spirits? They're energy.
Right.
Yeah. That just doesn't seem that crazy to me. That
we're all just energy.
Yeah, for that to be a thing. Yeah.
No.
At least for me to not 100% be like, oh, that's just a bunch of BS. It's it's enough for me to be like, yeah, I can kind of see that kind of happening. It's like you said, there's just some things you just can't freaking explain with the the scientific model. So.
And I'll be the first one to say, what I do is in the classes I take, and everything's based around a pseudoscience. So I understand that, not really anything can be proven 100%. But, if it's something that you're willing to be open with and open-minded and give a try, I say, contact me, give me a call, email me, reach out to me on Facebook.
Yeah, and you can do stuff like readings and stuff online, like you did one for Kayla.
I do cool. A lot of them online, over the phone, just like Skyping or through Google Duo.
Cool. Yeah, that could. And it's like you said, October. It could be a fun thing to do with the significant other.
That's right. You never.
I do couples readings.
Yeah.
That's spooky. I'm sure those get interesting.
Oh, they do, especially when the couples show up together.
Oh,
Do you get like couples and it's like, yeah, y'all ain't lasting.
Then I do them together, and it's kind of like you, and you. But if you do this,
yeah. Do you ever get them and it's just like, yeah, y'all ain't gonna make it?
Oh, they don't start yelling at each other, but they start doing the dirty glances across the table.
Oh no!
And then one's rubbing the other one's leg, telling him to calm down. Oh, you can see that.
I guess you probably had the opposite though. There, you've probably had couples come in and just had very, very positive experience, and
very much so. I've called several pregnancies actually.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, there was. I was at an event it was last Halloween weekend, and not last Halloween weekend, but it was last weekend fell on a Halloween. Our last Halloween fell on a weekend, so it was like the Saturday before the Sunday of Halloween. And I was working at a bar that called me in to do readings for like one of their events, and there was some newlyweds that came for a reading, and if I wasn't stoic, I probably would have been crying because it was the sweetest reading ever. They had a child. I saw it coming within a year. They had just bought their dream home, and I told them that, and they were like, "Oh, how did you know that?" And I mean, I was seeing, glimpses of their, it's called clairvoyance when you see like pictures in your head. I was seeing glimpses of their honeymoon. So it was actually a very accurate reading because they were telling me, oh yeah. I was seeing glimpses of their honeymoon in the tropics, and it was very sweet. So, yeah, I do get the opposite of that too.
That's good. They got that positivity around here.
There's not enough of that anymore.
Yeah.
No, there's not actually. Sometimes, I love my job, but I can't say that I don't feel burnt out sometimes because sometimes there's a lot of negative energy flying at me, and sometimes all week long, and you're just like, I need a refresher.
Well, burnout. I think burnout's an interesting thing because it's not really about like. Burnout's not about not liking your job. It's about self-confidence. And it's like if you're feeling negative or down on yourself as compared to your ability to do the job, I think it has way more to do with that than with your job.
Right.
I think so, yeah.
And as a sensitive, I'm reading all this energy. And like I said, you're picking up all these negative vibes all week. It can cause burnout.
I bet.
I'm absorbing that energy. I'm putting my place in a position to absorb that energy too. So sometimes I have to remind myself it's not all my crap. Right. I have to cleanse. So I have a very strict rule about not working on Sundays. Very strict.
Not working on Sundays.
I don't work on Sundays. I'm very strict about it.
That's a good rule.
Yeah, that is probably a good thing to do.
I don't work because NFL football is on, but I think that's not as important.
I sit in my room in my pajamas and hide all day. I don't even like like my personal friends. Like they even know like don't go over to our house on a Sunday unless it's an emergency.
All right. Well, we're running at about time here.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. This was interesting as hell.
You said that you can do like the readings and stuff online. If are you like, do you need more clients? I just know there's some people that just have way too many clients.
Would like to give out my information.
Yeah.
People can reach out to me and see a lot more information on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/readingsbylindsay, or you can call or text me at 262-577-1794, and we can set up something from there.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Sounds good. All right. We'll send you the link. If you want to share it around, that's cool.
Absolutely, I will.
We're assholes. You don't have to.
Absolutely.
Other than that, make sure y'all like us on Facebook. Bread and Circuses by Big Bill Media. Give us that 5-star Apple review.
That tarot reading for Caleb was totally unplanned. We had no idea.
We did not plan that. Full disclosure, I've never had a tarot reading. I know a couple people that have the cards, but I have no one. Yeah.
Some of those things she would say, I was like, because chills were going up my spine. I was like, dang, dude.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Check out our Redbubble, buy our stuff. All right.
Love you.
Peace out.
Yeah, deuces, guys. Thank you.